Uh, a very warm welcome to our respected Principal Sir, Dr. Vipin Kumar Agrawal, and to all the participants attending today's session. It has been informed that our session will be recorded and be live on Facebook for the convenience of our participants. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce you all to our speaker for today. Our speaker has formerly been the Minister of Railways, Minister of Commerce and Industry, and Minister of Civil Aviation. Currently, he serves as India's Sherpa to G7 and G20 and as a member of Rajya Sabha. He is also a chartered accountant by profession and a member of Institute of Chartered Accountant of India. On behalf of all the participants, I'd like to welcome Shri Suresh Prabhu. Sir, it's an honor for us to have you on board. Thank you so much for taking out the time. It will be a pleasure for us to be enlightened by you.
Yeah, and I would like to add that Sri Suresh Prabhu is widely known and respected for spearheading reforms and driving positive change in society. He has championed the implementation of several key policies and programs and delivered impressive growth through his sheer hard work. Welcome, sir.
Should I speak?
Yeah, sir, please. Yeah.
Okay. So, namaskar.
Namaskar.
And wish you all the best. And Dr. Anjali Arora, my dear friend, whether Vidit Chavan or Vivek Jaiswal or the young lady, I cannot see your name there.
Sir, it's Shasta. Thank you, sir.
Varun Sa and many others. I'm sure there will be many more who are trying to be here in this program.
Yeah.
Firstly, let me express my great happiness that I can attend a program organized by Sri Aurobindo College. Sri Aurobindo, one of the finest souls that the world has known, an inspirational personality who not only attained exemplary heights in spiritual world, but also was a freedom fighter, who was a revolutionary. He guided people the right path for salvation, but also helped people to realize their own potential. And therefore, I'm very sure that a college of this type will offer you immense possibilities of knowing yourself. That is most important. You can never achieve anything unless you know yourself. And I'm sure that for I'm expressing my happiness that I could attend such a program, though not as a student, unfortunately. Dr. Arora, I could not come to your college as a student, but I'm sure I continue to be a student.
It would have been our greatest pleasure to have people like you addressing us. So that is just absolutely.
So I'm very happy that I could be part of this program. I'm a bit surprised that you decided to organize program on a topic like this. Very interesting. And as Vidit just mentioned, I used to be the aviation minister. I don't know whether that's the reason or something else, but I'm very happy that you have kept a program on such a very important topic. As you know, over a period of time, ever since the human being was born on the planet, the human mind was always fascinated by the skies. As a young kid, you will always be going to your mother and tell her that I want to get that moon. The mother could never imagine that one of the child from the planet will ever land there. She could never imagine. But still she didn't want to disappoint him, so she would take a mirror and show him, said, this is the moon, you catch him. Because in the mirror you can see the moon. But our fascination for skies has always been there. We say the Wright brothers invented the aircraft. Whether it is right or wrong, I don't know. Whether Wright brothers or somebody else, but because we also say that Rama traveled by aircraft after his victory from Sri Lanka to Ayodhya. But let's not get into, it's not play one scoring point over those who are invented. It doesn't matter. Who invented doesn't matter. But human mind invented it. That's for sure. Now, after that invention, we have traveled a long distance. Aviation for some time was a luxury. As a young child, my biggest ambition would be one day I must sit in the plane. Now from there we have traveled a long distance. That virtually every common man can now travel by air. Thanks to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's idea of launching Udan. It is 2,500 rupees maximum. You can go from one place to another, particularly the rural connectivity. So aviation industry has grown leaps and bounds globally. When you talk about aviation, it obviously has, when you see a plane flying, therefore you think that only the cockpit is operating the plane. And the pilot who was sitting in the cockpit, they are in command. It's true, but not fully true. You cannot operate a plane, you cannot fly an aircraft unless there's a huge ground support for it. The ATC. And many, many others who actually operate on the ground so that a plane can fly. And that entire ecosystem is extremely important. I remember as aviation minister, I called some of the people and said, when do you, all of you meet together, all these different players? They said airports meet separately globally. I'm talking about globally. There's a global event for airports, global event for aircraft manufacturers, global event for airlines and others, travel agents separate others. I said, do you have one single event for all of them participating? They said, no. I said, if you cannot fly an aircraft without everybody joining hands, why not have a global event? So I organized the first ever Global Aviation Summit in Mumbai on 15th and 16th January 2019, first ever. Idea was that let's bring everybody together. And there we discovered the exponential growth that has happened not only in terms of passengers flying. That's only one yardstick of that. Not only in terms of global revenues of airlines. That's again a small part of that story. It's an entire ecosystem. A good example of that is Dubai. Dubai hardly has any population, local population, hardly. But Dubai has become one of the biggest international hub of the world. And what has it resulted in? It has helped in creating millions of, not millions, but few 100,000 jobs. The catering contractors, the transport people, the hospitality industry, hotels, aircraft manufacturer, aircraft financing organizations like leasing companies, and others, many others. So the aviation industry has a huge, huge footprint, but also huge ecosystem. In India, we have become the third largest domestic passenger market in the world. And the next few years will become the third largest even on international size. Obviously, the first is US and China, second. As a result of that, aviation industry is adding a lot of jobs. So as the aviation minister, I prepared India's first ever air cargo policy. If you're growing in passenger, why not grow in cargo? The movement of cargo domestically as well as globally would also be part of the aviation story. And if you add more cargo, over a period of time, airlines will also make more money. Airlines make more money, maybe, hopefully. They'll also reduce the passenger fares or offer better services. So this is first we did it. Now, there's a new dimension which has been added to the aviation story is drones. You could never imagine drones dominating the skies. And as we go along, the drones will dominate skies more than probably over a period of time, even aircrafts. So it's a new bird that is going to be seen in the sky very soon. Already we are seeing that. So as an aviation minister, I had actually come out with the drone policy for India. I can clearly see that drones will have a total market of maybe $50 trillion over a period of time. And drones will be used for many purposes, for agriculture. Of course, there's a military use, but I'm talking about civilian use. Drones can be used even for transporting vaccines and not something else. And Dr. Arora, you will appreciate it. When a patient is needing critical Medicare, as you call it, that golden hour, drones can play that critical part. And there are many others who are coming forward. My wife has already done it. I'm also going to do it. Is donate all my body after I die, so that anybody can use whatever organ is still good to be used. At that time, if I want to donate my body, the organ has to be transplanted into as a donor. Of course, I'm dead, so I'm not donor anymore. But if that part has to be given to a deserving patient, it has to be done in a record time. And that can be done by drones. So drones will play a very critical role in the years to come, and that is also going to be part of the aviation industry. Now, having explained to you the aviation industry, and the point that you asked me to speak on is pandemic and aviation. The worst effect of pandemic, if what there was on one industry, it was aviation. And because aviation got affected, the entire ecosystem was suffering. For example, hotels, travel agents, the entire, say maybe tourist guides, everybody, all tourist destinations, everybody was suffering. And we have globally lost few million jobs as a result of that. Some temporarily, and I hope temporarily, but some of them are gone forever. The revenues that aviation industry has lost is into few $100 billion. That's lost, gone. That's not going to come back. The aviation industry may regain its market share post 2021, that 20 rather, that is post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, maybe after 3-4 years. So what is gone is gone. So loss of opportunities is gone. Many careers have been badly affected. But it's happened globally. And what we are worrying part is that we are thinking, and even I was thinking, that once we get vaccine, we can get over the pandemic. But as we are seeing now in Europe, even today, this morning, you must have seen the French president saying that we are entering the third wave in France, third wave. And he's saying that even in this third wave, the youth is also getting affected. So earlier time, only the old person like me was susceptible and vulnerable. So it's a very worrying thing. Until we completely put this pandemic behind us, aviation industry will not come back. Even today, you are seeing the moment there's a new alarm, new strain that has been found, new mutation is discovered. The first thing is stop travel, right? Rightly so. And when you stop travel, aviation is affected. So unless we get over the problem of pandemic, aviation industry can never recover fully. Travel is an integral part of human life. We've always been traveling. See, we've always been nomads. The human beings have always been nomadic. That time there was no aeroplane, no car, no vehicles, so they were going by foot, but they're traveling. So people by nature will always like to travel. They don't want to be at home. Though it was a forced stay at home by many, including for me, but people don't like to be confined to homes. They want to go out, travel. And having enjoyed it for so many decades now, that human beings have seen new places, new areas, so they like to even do that more. But pandemic has put severe restriction on it, and that is the result of that. The worst casualty is aviation, the topic that you want to discuss. The losses are into billions of dollars. That's the revenue loss. But not only revenue loss, there are some cost, the fixed cost, that had to be suffered by the companies. So there's even financial loss. So some airlines' capital is wiped out. So they are waiting for a bailout from the governments or from their shareholders. And therefore, it's a very serious situation. In India, our domestic aviation industry has picked up pretty well. There's good resilience on their part. And as I was saying, as the aviation minister has seen, that we contributed to the growth of this industry by taking a number of policy measures. So I can clearly see now that slowly we'll come out of it, but will not be up and running so soon. We recover from it, but take a long time for us to go back to pre-pandemic level domestically and even internationally, even if it take a long time, because international depends upon the other country, the destination country. If Europe is suffering, you cannot take a flight to Europe. And it's so connected that, you may be going to Europe, but you may take a flight via Dubai. Or when you go to Europe, somebody is coming from Brazil to Europe and you may have an encounter with him. Now Brazil is also suffering very badly. So you are living in a world which is interconnected. And in that world, you cannot say that I am isolated from the problem. Self-isolation is one of the measures suggested by WHO. But self-isolation after you have traveled, right? So when you travel, you are probably exposed. So it's a very challenging situation. I think we'll have to wait and watch. As I said, India is fortunately recovering better as compared to many other countries in the world. The hotspot today is Europe, Brazil, USA. USA is partially recovering, but USA has suffered the maximum deaths. The most advanced economy has suffered the most. Europe, another very advanced geography, has suffered again, probably second most sufferer after US. So it's unfortunately pandemic, and I'm not happy about it. Therefore, I said unfortunately and sadly, this pandemic is a great leveler. It is affecting everybody. Whether you're a rich country or poor country, you are getting affected. And vaccination is one solution, but even vaccination is not the only way and can be guaranteed to be a recipe for getting over this problem. So let's hope for the best and do what it. But going forward, once we restore normalcy, aviation can add millions of jobs in India. Because everybody's desire is to travel by air. That's what I was saying, as a young boy, young girl, you always have that ambition to fly one day or the other. So even poor, rich, everybody wants to travel by plane. So the market is going to be exploding. But for that, restoration of normalcy has to happen. And for that, medical intervention will be very critical. And I think over a period of time, we'll be able to get over that. I will love to come to your campus one day, and we'll love to meet all of you. Will be very happy to meet all of you. But let me, with your permission, end my remarks, because I know you have a program. I have to also go for some other program. Parliament is going on. But I really offer you my best wishes and thank profusely and thank really, genuinely, for inviting me for a program and meet youngsters like you. For old man like me, I can at least feel young again only when I meet youngsters like you. So at least you've given me a temporary pleasure of knowing what the youth is, which I lost long time back. So thank you very much for inviting me. And also, as I said, such a great institution like this is a pride of India. And therefore, we really look forward to working with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Suresh Prabhu. On behalf of the principal, faculty and students of Sri Aurobindo College and all other attendees, I would like to express my immense gratitude and for giving us the time and sharing your insights with us on this very important, pertinent topic. And you've rightly pointed out the importance of the aviation sector, given the example of drones, how critical they are for our welfare. And we do hope that we all will be able to address this issue, and there'll be a successful turnaround story soon, and this too shall pass. Let's hope so. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you. God bless you all. Thank you. We'll be in touch. And anytime you feel like you can count on my support, you can invite me for program, but anything else that your college may need any help, any support from the government permissions or whatever, you're most welcome to talk to me.
So very kind of you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.